Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video, I will show you how to reload a control center widget in Expo React Native for iOS. So let's get started. So I'll just give you a basic premise of what the app will be. So we will be just having one button inside our app, and whenever the button is pressed, we are incrementing the count and storing that count inside something called user defaults. So user defaults is used to store key value data. Now we will be writing native code for this. Some of you might be wondering why to write native code, why not use async storage. So the problem with async storage is I can't use that React Native code inside our control center widget, because control center widget has to be written completely in native code. So that's the problem, and I don't know if behind the scene async storage uses user defaults. It may or it may not be, but I don't want to complicate things, so I'll just use user defaults both for our app as well as control center widget just to persist the data. So first you can just go to this particular URL over here, and it will tell you how to create an Expo React Native project. I will be using this blank TypeScript template, but feel free to use whatever template you want. So I'll just copy this particular line of code and just cd to your workspace directory and paste it over here. Now this will ask us for the app name. I'll just name it as my app. You can name it whatever you feel like. Then like I said, we need to write native code, so we need to generate the native iOS folder. So for that, you can go to this particular URL over here, and here I'll just select iOS device. Here I will select development build. I will disable EAS because I will be using like building my app locally. I have already installed Xcode. I have already installed Xcode command line tools as well. I have already installed simulator. I have already done all the steps as well. Then we need to do this particular step. So I'll just copy this, and let's just wait for our project to initialize. Like let it install the node modules. So here I will just cd to my app, and I'll just paste this particular bit of code and enter. Okay, now again it will install few dependencies, but the main command is this one. So this will actually create the iOS folder for us. So once that command is finished, we can just paste this command. Now this will actually generate the CocoaPod dependency for us. So yeah, just be patient. This will take a bit of time. So once this is done, I'll come back and explain you guys the next step. Once CocoaPod installation has finished, you will see something like this to run your application. I won't run it now because we haven't written any code, so no point in running it now. So I'll just do Control C. If you want to run it, you can run it. Now we will just install a module for which we will write the code. Next step is we need to copy this particular command as well. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. Then we just need to copy this particular command. So this will actually create the what you say a module where we will actually write the code. So just paste this particular command. Now it will ask you for a few questions like what should be the module name and all that. I'll keep everything as default. Just press enter, enter, enter. Okay, once that is done, we need to run this particular command as well because this module also needs to be installed as a CocoaPod dependency. So once this is done, again I'll clear everything out and just paste this command. Now this will again install this my module which dependency which we have created like a inside our as a CocoaPod dependency inside our iOS project. So again this will take a bit of time, so let it do its thing. Here you can see. In the meantime, I will just open the project and show you guys what should be the next step. So here you can see I'll just open this project my app, and here you can see it has created all the necessary things for us. Now we can actually start writing the code. So I'll write some of the code and come back and explain it to you. So let's go through the code step by step. So first you will have to go to your modules folder, go to src, go to my module.ts, and here you can see I've just defined two methods, save value and get value. Like I said, we are just incrementing the value every time the button is clicked, so we don't need to provide actually the input. And the key, like I told you, the key, it is stored key value data, right? The key I have defined it on the native side. If you want, you can define it like take it as an input over here as well, but yeah, I have defined it on the native side. It's up to you. So save value and get value, these three methods were present by default. Like I have not added this, I have only added these two methods, save value and get value. Then you will have to go to this iOS folder, and here you will have to go to my module.swift, and here you can see I have defined this user defaults key. Now you can name this whatever you feel like, but be sure to to make a note of this particular key name, because we will be using this key name on control center widget as well. So if you have decided to change it, make sure you change it there as well. Now again, this code is present by default, like I have not done anything over here. This also is present by default. Then here we have defined this get value method. Now the name should be the same what we have defined over here, get value and save value. So I have defined two methods, get value and save value. So here basically what we are doing is we are using user defaults. And if you have little bit of knowledge of iOS, you might be wondering why I'm not using user defaults dot standard. We are using user default suit name. The reason is because I want to share this particular bit of data, like user defaults data, with our control center widget as well. So if you use user defaults dot standard, you won't be able to do that. That's why you have to use user default suit name. And what I have done is group dot whatever is your bundle identifier. Now to get the bundle identifier, just go to your app, go to iOS, and double click on this .exe workspace file, or which is that, double click on it. It will open it for you in Xcode. So yeah, let it open it inside Xcode. It does take a bit of time in my case. So let's just wait. So here you can just go to select my app, then go to sign in and capabilities. Here inside target you will have to select your app, and here you can see inside bundle identifier I have just changed it. Don't use the default one. Yeah, just change it to whatever you feel like. Typically it is com dot your company name dot your app name. So yeah, whatever you change it over here, you will have to use it over here. So like I was saying, whatever bundle identifier you have to use it over here. Group dot your bundle identifier, same over here as well, group dot your bundle identifier. So we just get the stored value which is present inside user defaults, and we return the stored value back, else we return 0. And inside save value, whatever is the current value, we fetch it, we update it by 1, then save it to user defaults and return the new value back, else we return 0. So hopefully till here everything is clear. And to use it, you can just go to app.tsx. Here you can see I have imported my module. I have also imported text, touchable, opacity and view, use state and use effect as well. And here you can see I have imported use state, like just created one state to get the value. As you can notice, I'm just calling this inside use effect. If you put your app in the background and come back, and if you have changed the value inside control center widget, this will not get updated. You might have to use that app did come in foreground, app did go in background, something like that, to update the state, to call this get value method again. Things would be more clear once I show you guys the output. And here you can see I've just taken one button, and on press of it, we just call my module.save value. Whatever we get, we just update our state inside that. And we here inside this text element, we just display this particular value. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Now again come back to Xcode. Here you will have to go to file, new, target. Here select iOS, and here you will have to filter for widget. Select widget extension, click on next, and here I can just name it as my Expo widget. You can give it some proper name. And here make sure you uncheck this include live activity. We only want this include control as well as include configuration app intent. Then just click on finish, and here you can just click on activate. Now here you can see it has created this my Expo widget. Now we need to share the user defaults as well, right? So first you will again have to go to my app, go to targets, my app, click on this plus capability. Okay, before that, sorry, I'll just copy my bundle identifier. So click on this plus capabilities, search for app group. I'll just enter this app group. Okay, then I'll click on this plus button again, and here I'll just write group dot our bundle identifier. Remove any extra spaces if there are any. So I'll just copy this, I'll click on OK. Then I will just go to our target over here. I'll click on this plus capability. I'll just add app group over here as well. I'll click on plus, and here I'll just add group dot our bundle identifier. I'll click on OK as well. So you will have to add it for both. Then you will have to there is one more thing which we have not written, which is the important thing of reloading our widget. I'll come back to that in a bit, but first you will have to go to my Expo widget control. And here also at the top I'll change back to my app, so that once I run my app, it runs the actual app and not just our widget. Now at least at the time of me recording this video, there are only two types of parent Swift UI views which are supported inside a control center widget. One is this control widget toggle, which is not really useful in our case. Second one is control widget button, so that's what we will be using. So for now you can just comment this code out. Okay, so here again I have added few code. Let me explain it to you. Again, here we are getting hold of our user defaults, group dot whatever is your bundle identifier, and here it is the same key which we have defined it inside our code. So if you remember, inside my module dot swift I have written this, so make sure you use the same thing over here. And inside this particular logic, here you can see I'm using control widget button. So for action we have to pass something called increment we have to pass an intent. So I'll create this particular file increment intent, and here what I'm doing, again I'm getting hold of our value which is present inside user defaults, and I'm just displaying that inside our text element. Okay, so to create a new file, so again just right click over here, again create this file from Xcode. Do not create this file from VS Code. Just right click new empty file and name it as increment intent. This thing is, I'll just paste my code over here. So here we are importing foundation as well as app intent, and here I have just created a struct which extends app intent. Now here you can give it some title, whatever you feel is correct for. I have just taken, like I'm doing my T intake, tracking my T intake, that's why I've named it as increment T intake. Again, this user key should be same what we have defined previously. We are overriding this perform method from app intent. Here we have this user defaults. Again we are just passing this group dot our bundle identifier, then we get hold of our current value, we just update the value by 1, and then we just do user defaults dot set, pass the new value for user defaults key, and here we just return dot result. So yeah, that's it from the control center widget part. One important thing is you will have to go to your app. Now control center widget are only available from iOS 18 and above, so you will have to go to the general section. You will have to click on this plus button. Okay, it is already 18.2 for in my case, but if it is not, you will have to change it to at least 18.0 over here as well as over here. So yeah, make sure you make this change. Okay, I think I'm in the wrong target. The target should be my app. Okay, let's see over here. So here it is 15.1. so yeah, that could be confusing. So make sure it is 18.0 over here as well as 18.0 over here. Okay, don't directly write 18.0 over here. I mean, sometimes it messes things up, so it's like just click on this plus button and write 18.0 and 18.0. Now the coming back to the code of reloading our control center widget. So now to reload our widget, you first have to import widget kit inside my module.swift, which is present inside the iOS folder of our my module, and then just scroll down, and in the save value function, before you return the value, you have to write control center dot share dot reload controls of kind. Now this should be the bundle identifier of your widget. Okay, so if you to know that, just go back to Xcode, go to your app, in target select your widget, go to sign in and capabilities, and here you can see this is your bundle identifier. So just copy it, write your own bundle identifier over here. So yeah, that's it. Now let me just run the application and show you guys the output. Okay guys, so here is the output. I'll just dismiss this and I'll click on this update button. Sorry, before I show you guys the output, there is one more thing which I forgot. Inside this my module.swift, you also have to add this @available iOS 18.0 slash comma star. Yeah, unfortunate, yeah, but we have to add this. Sorry about that, I forgot to tell you guys. So here you can see I have now the value is 3, right? So what I'll do is I'll just move this to background. It is not completely closed, it is moved to background. I'll move this down, I'll click on this plus button, I'll click on add a control, and here I'll just select my app, right? Sorry, this my app, whatever is your app name, and just expand this a bit. So here you can see number of T is 3. I'll click on this, the value is 4. Now if I open my app, here it is still showing 3 because we are not calling this like I said, this get value inside app did come in foreground. We are only calling it inside use effect. So if you want, you can add that logic as well so that your value is consistent. So now if I update, it will directly jump to 5, 6, 7. Now the value is 7. Now if I go to my control center widget, it should show 7 hopefully. So here you can see it is showing 7. So yeah, that's how we can reload our widget. Thank you for watching. Bye.